The Kawasaki ZZR1400, yep, we've got her back out again. She is looking rather dirty as I as I look at her in the light, but I'll give her a clean this weekend. But yeah, so she's back out again. I've managed to get the alarm battery sorted, so yeah, she's back out on the road. And well, if you noticed on the intro what I was being sick about, I was throwing up over, these are handlebar risers, and I've actually had these for a very long time. I've had them for about 3 years, almost as long as I've owned the bike. But I put them on, and within about a week I took them back off again. And so, I mean, in today's video I'm going to kind of explain why I did that, why I put them on to begin with, and why I ended up just taking them off shortly after. And, you know, whether or not they're worth it, I mean, they may be worth it to you, but, well, let's jump on the bike, let's go for a ride, and yeah, I'll let you know my feelings on these handlebar risers. Now, these ones aren't actually very tall. I think they're an inch. Yeah, they look like an inch tall. So yeah, not very big, but I mean, the benefit behind having smaller ones is that they don't interfere with anything. You just put them in and you don't have to modify anything else on the bike. Having said that, when they arrived, because you see these handlebar risers everywhere on eBay, absolutely everywhere. When you search for handlebar risers, ZZR1400 or ZX-14, you see them just absolutely everywhere. And it's difficult sometimes to kind of pick which is the best one. I mean, I just went for, I can't remember how much I spent on this pair, but yeah, I just kind of went on ones that had decent reviews and things. But to my surprise, when they arrived, they didn't fit on the bike straight away. I did have to modify them somewhat. If I can find the picture of them when they were new, then I'll put it up on the screen now. But basically they had like a little lip on them, and that little lip would not fit around the handlebars. Simply wouldn't fit. It wouldn't fit around the suspension, kind of the top end of the suspension. It simply just would not go around it. So I had to get a Dremel with a cutting wheel, and I had to modify them. Well, I had to cut off that top lip basically in order to make them fit. So I did go through quite a lot of effort to install these handlebar risers, and considering that on eBay the advert, whoever the seller was, said that they were for the ZX-14, the ZZR1400, you know, leaves a bit of a bad taste in your mouth somewhat when you have a seller that says that these handlebars will work when they won't work straight away. And I'm pretty sure I wasn't installing them wrong. They simply did not fit. They didn't go. And basically the problem with the lip is that they left a gap at the bottom, and you can't have a gap there. The handlebar would just start swinging around. So I had no choice. I had to cut the lip off that was on the top in order to allow the suspension to go all the way through the hole. Excuse me. Oh dear. Had a bit of a weird, like, chesty cough past few days. Sneezing loss too. But yeah. So anyway, so after those modifications, I put them on and yeah, used them for a bit. And if I'm being totally honest with you guys, they didn't really help all that much. They didn't do that much. So, and afterwards I was like, well, if they don't do that much, I might as well just take them off and just have the stock setup, to be honest. Now, I think this probably will depend on your height, how tall you are, what your arm length is, your arm reach. Because if your arm reach is, I don't know, longer than mine, then you might get more benefit out of it. If they're shorter, you might not get as much benefit out of it. I don't know. But for me, Yeah, they didn't make much of a difference. At least they didn't make much of a difference in terms of the comfort anyway, because that's what I was mainly looking for. Because when I first bought this bike, I was kind of struggling with the weight on my wrists, and yeah, the handlebar risers, they did help a little bit with the weight on my wrist. It wasn't that much, but it did help a little bit. But yeah, like I said, after riding it for a week, I actually preferred the way they were before, so that's what I ended up sticking with. So yeah, I ended up just thinking I prefer the way how it was stock, having that slightly further lean forward. And when I say slightly, I mean ever so slightly, because it's only an inch in height. Now there may be some other ones that you can get out there a bit more expensive that might actually do a little bit more in terms of the ergonomics, but nah, for me they hardly did anything at all. I mean, on the plus side, they haven't done anything either in the sense of how the bike feels to handle. The bike feels to it handles almost exactly the same, or at least the way it feels is almost exactly the same handling wise as stock. So yeah, not anything to be concerned about there, to be honest. And also as well, the cables and all the pipes are just long enough so you don't have to do any fiddling around with trying to lengthen the cables or have to disconnect anything from the actual handlebars themselves in order to get them over. You can just get them on. There's enough slack on everything to get them on. So from that point of view, I suppose that's pretty good as well. I mean, I thought I'd put them on for today's shoot just to see if I felt any differently about them, and I don't think I do, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure that the way how I felt back then is the same way how I feel right now. And I've been out riding for about an hour with them on, and yeah, they haven't changed much of the feel, if you know what I mean, the feel of the bike, the way how it feels to ride. Oh, I've got some RCs. See a lot of these around here in the West Country. Bear with me a second. Don't want to spook the horsies. Fair play to horse riders doing it out on the street. I mean, where else are you going to do it, right? But yeah, horses, they get spooked pretty easily. So yeah, guys, I mean, one thing that I did notice is that you feel a bit more of that pull. I think because your body weight isn't leaning forward quite so much on the bike, that it kind of feels like you're holding on a bit more for dear life, but it's not really that much different. So these ones in particular, 1-inch risers, I wouldn't recommend. They don't do anything for me. They don't help that much with the comfort. They don't help that much with the riding experience, especially if you have kind of arthritis or something like that, or carpal tunnel in your wrists. These aren't really going to help, at least, I don't know, in my humble opinion. And to be honest with you, if you do have carpal tunnel or arthritis in your hands and your wrist, maybe stay away from bikes like these where they have a more forward-leaning position than other touring bikes. I mean, some people call this a sport bike. I regard it as a sport bike because of that ergonomic factor. Its ergonomics are more of a sport bike, have more of a sport bike feel than a touring bike feel, in my opinion. I mean, when you have a look at the ergonomics between this and the ZH2, the ZH2 has got a very traditional touring ergonomic setup, and that is just insanely comfortable ergonomically anyway. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much else to say on this apart from watch out what you buy on eBay. Not everything is as is promised. You know, they advertise things like, oh, better comfort and less weight on your wrists and things, and which is what I was looking for, but nah. Now, if you're buying a bike like this and you like the way it feels when you test ride it, or at least it doesn't feel that heavy when you test ride it, then just keep it as is. Keep it as is. There really isn't a need to modify them. I mean, and you get used to it as well. I come from a touring bike background, so this bike and the Honda CBR1400RR that I used to have, they were very aggressive, or well, the CBR more so, but they were, both this and the CBR were very aggressive seating positions compared to the bikes that I had ridden in the past. So it's definitely something that you will get used to if you haven't ridden bikes like these before. So don't be like me and be hasty in buying handlebar risers or modifying the ergonomics of the bike, because there's really no need whatsoever. Anyway, guys and gals, I mean, I'm gonna keep the video nice and short today. Weather hasn't been too good. We've got a bit of a break in the weather today, but still been cold, still been wet. I mean, today is reading 7 degrees Celsius, so it's definitely warmer than it has been over the past few weeks, but got to take my chances, you know, got to take my chances to come out and shoot. But this time of year, guys, I don't ride my bikes unless it's going out for a shoot. I mean, maybe if I'm doing shorter journeys or something like that, but for the most part, I'm not riding. So, yeah, just got to keep the shoots going. And I really have got no idea where the hell I'm going. I'm pretty sure there's a dead end, but I have to turn around, I reckon. But anyway, guys and gals, thank you ever so much for watching this video, and thank you very much for watching towards the end. And if you are umming and ahhing about buying handlebar risers for the Kawasaki ZZR1400, I would hold off a little bit, give it a little bit of time, get used to the ergonomics of the bike, especially if you haven't ridden bikes like these before, and see how you get on with it. I mean, I got used to it pretty quick, and to be honest, I mean, well, like I said, within a week of having these handlebar risers, they had no purpose. They didn't do anything to the overall ergonomics of the bike, in my opinion. So yeah, there's no point really. But yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments, guys and gals, and whether or not there is actually like a I don't know, another brand or something like that, or handlebar risers that you have bought in the past, and definitely drop it down in the comments section below for us, as yeah, maybe it's something I'll test out in future if I do decide to, I don't know, maybe try and increase the comfort of this motorcycle in some way. But yeah, definitely let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, hit subscribe, and we'll catch you all in the next video. Have a good one.